Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in on our 7 to 14 day forecast. Just before we look close into the models, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on another video. So at the moment we've currently got some lurking drizzle and heavy rain into parts of southeast England, with some showers now moving into parts of Ireland and Scotland, becoming more into inland across England as well. But these showers will not be on the thundery side like yesterday. Whereas tomorrow we could see some more thundery showers develop, which is why we will be issuing another convective outlook tonight on our X page, so make sure you're following that. So we have a quick look at the UKV for the next 5 days, and then we'll quickly look into the 7 and 14 day, as that will be our main focus. So as you can see today, we've got some showers developing, some isolated showers developing across parts of the Midlands, southwest England, Ireland and Scotland, with snow on the hills. And as we move into tonight, we've got an occluded front moving into parts of Ireland, bringing heavy rain with some possible embedded lightning strikes as well. And this will be followed by a lot of heavy and thundery showers across parts of England, Ireland, and to the south part of Scotland. So a lot of heavy and thundery showers here, quite widespread as well, but not all of them will contain a thundery element. So if we move now into Thursday morning, we can see these thundery showers still developing across parts of Wales and southwest England into parts of Thursday early hours, and Thursday afternoon will be largely dry with some pockets of showers, but these will be once again very isolated and not on the thundery side as well across parts of Ireland. Some showers developing across parts of England and well as Scotland too. So as we go into Thursday night, Friday early hours, we can see a large clear spell for across parts of Ireland, Scotland and England. This is where temperatures will drop below freezing quite widely, bring in some frost and possible freezing fog as well. As we move into Friday afternoon, clouds start bubbling up, but yet again some little pockets of isolated showers, but not much here. And as we go on to Saturday, we've got that occluding front tracking into parts of western parts of Scotland, as well as west of Ireland as well, but this will die down, bringing drizzle and murk and a lot of cloud for parts of England. And as we move on to Sunday, we have got a large drier spell coming, as this is because we've got higher pressure coming, which we are now going to look at. So as you can see, we quickly run through the next 5 days and we'll go on to 7 and 14 day. As you can see, we've got high pressure building in around Friday, with it becoming much more dominant and stronger for next week as well. We can't really go further out on this run, so we will go the run back, which is the 0Z. As you can see, that high pressure really builds in, bringing southerly winds for southern England as well. And then we could see that possibly go further onwards as well for the next 14 days. We could see a quite strong and dominant high pressure, which could actually bring some quite warmer spells. So as you can see, we've currently got a chillier spell above us, which is why we're currently in a polar maritime air mass coming from the northwest. But this will change as we develop a high pressure above us, which will become much stronger, and as you can see, we become much milder starting mid to early next week. And then possibly as well, this could also continue with it being quite a mild start for March. So very interesting from the GFS. We'll look at the ECMWF and see if there's any differences. So as you can see, early next week we get that strong high pressure to start building in, and then that dies down a bit, and then we go back into the high pressure possibly. No? Okay, so the ECMWF is not actually bringing a higher pressure again for the end of next week, whereas the GFS is. So the ECM has high pressure building in early next week, which is a lot of confidence now. But then this dies down and we go into a North Atlantic jet stream onslaught with low pressures firing up. And that would bring a lot of rain and cloud with that. But we could also possibly go back in, but depending on whether this low pressure forms here, because I don't think the GFS has this low pressure forming. So if we go on the 0Z quickly again, so that GFS has that low pressure here. So let me just quickly draw it for you. So the GFS has that low pressure up here. ECMWF has the low pressure up here. So big differences because of how far it is. So very much uncertainty of that, but we are certain that we will see higher pressure starting next week, bringing much warmer spells. And if we go onto the 2 minimum maximum temperature chart, we could see anywhere from mid-teens to possibly, we could reach the 15-degree mark, guessing on how warm it actually is in the upper air. So we could actually reach the 15-degree mark, but on this one we don't see any oh wait, there we go. So on the GFS, as it has that warmer, the higher pressure building back in, the end of next week, we could see a more higher temperatures with that as well. But if we look at France to see how warm they're getting quickly, as you see that high pressure builds in, and France is widely above mid-teens into the possible low 20s as well. So there is warm air near us, and it will be above us for early next week, but we're only expecting mid-teens, which is quite warm for this time of year. As you can see, if we go on the 850 temperature nominally, we can see quite a warm air mass circling above us. As you can see, we're probably around anywhere from 6 to 8 degrees there, possibly even 6 to 10 degrees above the average. So a very mild spell is on the way. And if we look at the 2 minimum temperatures with this as well, go back on there. If we look at the 2 minimum temperatures with this as well, we could see that the UK is very mild above the average temperature, especially across eastern parts of England as well. But I'm presuming this will also be across Midlands as well, as you can see here, across Midlands, Ireland, as well as Scotland. So the whole of the UK is above average, with temperatures dropping possibly below average during the night, where skies are clear. But once again, a very warm and mild spell is on the way. And if we look at the overview, whether there is rain within that, which is high likely not to be, as it is a high pressure, it is sunny and clear spells with cloud possibly moving in across parts of England during the mid to late next part of the week. And then we've got that low pressure moving in as well, or trying to move in, but a bit of question how far that moves in. And that will determine whether we go back into the high pressure or we see an Atlantic onslaught with possible high pressure towards the mid of the month as well. So very interesting from the GFS there. If we quickly look at the ECMWF overview before we look at the ensemble members, we can see that high pressure starts to build in early next week. As you can see here, we've got that high pressure base just to the north of France, and that will sit there for quite a while, bringing on the ECMWF some quite cloudy spells with this as well though. So a bit of some differences within the ECMWF and the GFS. GFS keeps it clear, sunny, whereas the ECM says otherwise. And then during the end of next week, excuse me, we could see a more Atlantic flow moving in instead of a higher pressure, which is the GFS is suggesting. So very much differences within the models, and that is very interesting indeed. So we're ever going to be we are guaranteed to be in higher pressure possibly next week, early next week, which could bring anywhere from mid-teens to possibly the high teens. We could see 15 degrees if it's sunny possibly, but the question is now whether it is cloudy next week or sunny next week, as you can see with the ECMWF and the GFS, and what happens towards the end of the week, whether we stay in that high pressure or we go into an Atlantic onslaught. So if we look at the ensemble members, so this is the GFS 0Z, and as you can see here, we are currently in a polar maritime air mass till around the 1st of March. So you can see here where temperatures gradually start to increase. As you can see on the average line, we take it all the way up to above the 5-degree mark. So there's not really any much uncertainty within this. However, we do see a little pack down here, which is uncertainty. As you can see up here, we've kind of got a 50-50 spread, which is why the mean is right in the middle of that. So depending on when that high pressure builds in, it is anywhere from around the 3rd to 5th of March, and it should peak at the highest and strongest where we pull in that milder air around the 6th and 7th. So first week of March is looking very mild indeed, but after that is a huge question. As you can see with here, we've kind of got a 50-50 spread. So if we move this down here, you can see that line is very much along the mean. As you can see, we've got a couple ensembles going for mild, and we've got a couple ensembles going for more colder, which would be the Atlantic onslaught. So if we look at the precipitation alongside with this, go back on the 0Z, as you can see at the moment, we've got that front moving across England tomorrow, which is going to bring heavy rain, and then it becomes very dry till around the 7th of March, where we start to pull in a possible Atlantic flow where rain spikes are picking up there. However, not much picking up down here, only a couple of millimeters of rain, so not much, probably that isolated shower or two. So if we look at the ECMWF, as you can see here, we've got that polar maritime air mass till around the 2nd of March before it starts to turn milder. As you can see, that white average line taking it all the way just to above the 5th of March, which is what the GFS is saying. So very much certain with that, very much confident with that. But then a large spread picks up into the end of next week as well. So as you can see, we start to pick up that milder air here. So we get a very nice white line above the 5-degree mark, which is I think around 6 to 7 degrees above average upper air for this. As you can see, this is the average. So down the red line is the average. And if we look further ahead, you can see a large spread whether we're going to be going below average or staying above average. So very much uncertainty past the 7th of March, I would say. But anywhere onwards from this looks very certain. So anywhere from the 2nd to 7th of March, we're expecting a more milder and warmer spell, which will be very exciting indeed for those who have been missing the milder air. And it just shows again with this from the ECMWF, we could see on the 6th of March there is nothing there, so there's no rain there. However, anywhere from the 7th to 12th of March, where it becomes more uncertain, there is more rain spikes picking up there. So remaining quite dry parts of England, but as we move to the end of next week, it could become more uncertain whether we see rain or cloud. So thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will speak to you all again next week. Goodbye, everyone.